Faith in the Sixth Form Scene 1. In the summer after 6th grade, Mother and I moved to South Carolina from Ohio. After looking around for a school which taught proper morals and manners as well as academic skills, Mother enrolled me in Christian Faith Academy. This was a small, private school which took in about 75 high school students. Mother chose Christian Faith after touring the school and spending 2 hours discussing parental and educational philosophy with its principal, Mrs. Ruth Saunders. Mrs. Saunders was a 45-year-old widow with 20 years of experience in Christian education. Right away the two women took an instant liking to each other. Mrs. Saunders even organized a neighborhood welcome party for us in early August. By the time school began in early September, she was Mother's best new friend. Sometime in the first week, each new student was asked to stop by at Mrs. Saunders's office where she personally welcomed them, went over school policies, and answered questions. My meeting was scheduled after class on the second day of school. I walked over to the small administration building and knocked. Within a few moments, Mrs. Saunders opened the door and greeted me with a warm smile. Ruffling my hair, she led me down a little hall into her office. Taking a seat behind her desk, she gestured to a chair on the other side. After I sat down, she began telling me more about Christian faith. As we talked, I noticed a large rubber-soled slipper lying directly in front of me on her desk. Although I tried not to stare at it, my eyes glanced down 3 or 4 times. And each time I looked up, I could tell Mrs. Saunders had noticed because she gave me a little smile. After filling me in on the calendar and various school rules, Mrs. Saunders gestured to the slipper and commented, "Peter, as I see you have noticed, we use paddling at Christian Faith to maintain discipline. Any youngster who misbehaves or comes to class with incomplete homework is sent to me at the end of the day for a good lesson over my knee. Once the youngster gets here, I call his or her mother to explain why her youngster won't be on the school bus and to arrange for a pickup an hour later. With that taken care of, I close my office door and unplug the phone so I can turn my full attention to the naughty youngster at hand. Usually it's a boy since they tend to get into trouble more often than girls. I always begin with a heart-to-heart talk to be sure he understands what he did wrong and why he needs a paddling. I find corporal punishment works much better if the youngster admits to his misbehavior first. No talk ends until the boy tells me he's sorry and agrees that he's earned a spanking. Once he's ready for his punishment, I give him a thorough scolding like any youngster about to go over my knee. Only then does the actual paddling begin. I know you probably think you're too big to be treated like a youngster at school, but that's exactly why paddlings are so effective with boys your age. In my experience, nothing teaches a youngster in junior high to behave faster than having his teacher keep him after school and put him over her knee for a good spanking. From what your mother tells me, you are a fairly rambunctious young boy who needs lots of discipline. Isn't that right, Peter? All I could do was look down and grow red in the face. Fortunately, Mrs. Saunders seemed satisfied with my silence. I thought so. Your mother also told me you wouldn't have a problem with corporal punishment since you're used to regular spankings at home. While I hope I never have to see you here after class, Peter, make no mistake about what will happen if I do. By the time you leave my office, you will be one very well spanked little boy. Are we all clear on that, young man?" "Yes, Ma'am," I managed to stammer, looking down anxiously as if I had already done something wrong. "Good. With 6 years ahead of you at Christian Faith, it's important that you understand right away how we handle troublemakers. Needless to say, I don't hesitate to spank older students when their actions warrant it. So watch yourself in the coming years. It doesn't matter whether you're 12 or 17. Any youngster who is naughty in school is not too old to be put over my knee. Once I take a big boy and start scolding him, he doesn't feel big for long, believe me. And when he gets a taste of my slipper, he ends up kicking and crying. Over the years, I've spanked boys from 5 to 18 and they all act the same once my slipper goes to work. By then, my heart was pounding and I felt a little faint, almost as if Mrs. Saunders was about to turn me over her lap right then and there. Fortunately, she dropped the subject and went on to other matters. Her firm tone gave way to her usual warm, maternal manner, which soon put me at ease. One thing was clear about Mrs. Saunders. She was a dedicated teacher who cared a lot about her pupils and showed it. She had the knack of making you feel you were the only person in the world when she was talking to you. And she said goodbye to me that day with a big, warm hug. In that moment, her earlier warnings were absorbed into a larger caring and warmth. If she used spanking to punish naughty school youngsters, they were just another aspect of her nurturing manner which combined firmness with maternal love.